Hello and welcome to another session of Karen's Colours. I'm Dr. Karen and these are my colour conversations. It's that time again where we need to look at another colour reading for prediction purposes. Again, we're looking at birthdays, and if you're new here, then hopefully you'll come across something that you haven't seen before. Predictions using colour are quite different to those using tarot cards or the I Ching, for example. If you're a regular viewer, of course, then you know exactly what to expect. And I hope that this month, this upcoming month of July, will be a lot better for you than June was. Certainly, I hope it will be for me, because I do the things that I ask of you. I choose my colours and I incorporate them into my life as much as I possibly can. This month, I've chosen another Oracle card set. This one is called the Telepathy Oracle cards. Now, there's no information on them whatsoever as to where they came from, but I rather like them because of the messages that they give us. As usual, I've pre-shuffled the colour cards. Well, you could actually say I've pre-randomized them because I'm not much of a shuffler. And if you want to see that randomization process, there is a video called Shuffling for the Non-Shuffler that's in the playlist that you'll find this particular video under as well. This is a color reading for people born in the month of June to see how their July 2025 is likely to travel. So let's begin with an oracle card. Oracle card for people born in the month of June about the July 2025. And we'll take that card, only the one, and pop it under there and look at it at the end of the reading to consolidate what is going to happen. And now I want a colour card, a series of colour cards for people born in June to look at their month of July 2025. All right. The energy that you bring with you into the month is white on yellow. The energy through the greater part of the month is red on black, and the energy with which you leave the month is purple on purple. And finally, the underlying energy is black on cyan. Looking at these cards, we can see that there are two colours that have been repeated. Firstly, there is black, which occurs as the motivation for the majority part of the month, but it also occurs in the underlying energy as the action taken throughout the month. And then we have purple here as both the activator and also the action that's taken. Now, when we have the same color, top and bottom, in any of these readings, it means that the color or the meaning of that color represents both the drive and the action, and there is no ability to change those. There is a rigidity of colour and action. And between them, they create a bit of a conundrum because it doesn't allow you to have very many options. But we'll look at that when we get there. Let's now focus on the underlying energy. Here as the underlying energy, we begin with the motivation, which is cyan. Cyan is all about trying to find your bliss. You want things to be stable, you want them to be peaceful, you want life to be pleasant, and that is the driver that is creating for you a feeling throughout the entire month that you want things to be the way that they are, that causes you the greatest amount of comfort. In the real world, what you do as a result of this feeling, this need for comfort, is that you are actually withdrawing. You're moving away from all of the activities, all of the people, the interactions that you normally would have with other people and with situations and experiences, and instead spending time inside your own head. Black in the real world is the activation of psychic energy. And so your need for bliss has created the activity of getting into your own mind and spending time there communing with yourself. In the past, coming into the month of July from June, we have yellow as the underlying driver. Now, yellow internally nearly always has to do with fears. It has to do with memories, and it has to do with emotions that are attached to those memories. It doesn't have to do with reality so much as the need for you to be able to remember things as a warning. Yellow is one of nature's warning colors. It's also a great attractant. But here, with yellow as the underlying energy and then white as the action that carries out from that underlying energy, what we find is that the memories that you have are creating for you a great deal of uncertainty in that you don't really know what those memories are useful for. You won't know just how you're going to be able to dissipate the energy of all of that underlying memory. Now, those memories can be quite happy ones too, by the way. They don't necessarily have to be negative memories. But all the same, the memories have to do with creating for you an ability in the real world to handle anything that is thrown at you, basically. You are able to simply accept new experiences, new excitement, and incorporate those into your underlying energy. Because they're both quite light colors, I would say that you're probably quite happy with everything that you have experienced coming into the month of July. The underlying energies, however, give it slightly different impact. When we take the yellow need here, the driver, and the cyan driver here, put those two together and we end up with a form of green. Green has to do with needing to find a new pasture, a new way out, a new way of doing things that you hadn't looked at before, new opportunities. So there is a degree of dissatisfaction here that comes from the inclusion of this need for everything to be perfect and the need to remember the things that made you happy in the past. So obviously some form of dissatisfaction. What is of more concern, however, is that the black activity here and the white activity here are absolute opposites. While we have opposites on the color wheel, black and white can never, ever be contained in the same ideas without going grey. And grey is uncertainty, confusion, inability to see things from different points of view. And this is the energy that is creating the problem, if there is a problem here at all. There is a dissatisfaction, but there is no way of determining how you are going to deal with that dissatisfaction. Where are you going to take yourself in order to overcome dissatisfaction? How are you going to contain all of that uncertainty and confusion and the having to stay in your head in one respect and at the other end of the extreme, being out there open to experiences that you really don't understand and have no background knowledge to deal with either? So you're searching for mental stability. As we come into the middle of the month, we have that black energy now going internally. Now, when black goes internally, it means that you have a need to retreat, a need to recuperate, a need to get away from things so that you have time out to reconsider your options, to readjust yourself, to reevaluate who you are and where you are going. And in the real world, what you are doing about this need to retreat is you're actually being extremely the word aggressive comes to mind, but it's really more than that. You're being more assertive in that you are demanding that you be left alone. That's it, basically. I will do things my way, and I don't care how anybody else feels about it or what anybody else's needs are. These are my needs to be left alone, and I will enforce those if necessary. That puts you in a bit of a dangerous situation, because black and red together are often associated with with an orientation, a gender orientation, not so much sexual, but one in which you need to find who you are for yourself as a human being. You know, how are you going to act? Are you going to be a particular type of person or a different sort of a person? It's really trying to find yourself, and that's where you are in the middle of the month. Now, add to these the underlying energies. We have here a very much darkened form of cyan, which is basically blue, which is the challenge to be considerate, thoughtful, all of those things that are associated with femininity. And in the real world, it's a darkened red, which is all of those things associated with an extreme form of masculinity. So it is, in a way, a gender crisis that happens in the middle of the month. As well as that, red and cyan are opposites on the colour wheel. So while one is a motivator and the other one is an action, nevertheless, they do sit uncomfortably together, particularly since the other alternatives are complete withdrawal. So there is something happening with you, June people, in the month of July that causes you to want to completely get away and reevaluate who you are. By the end of the month, massive change has taken place. Purple on purple is all about destruction and recreation. In the tarot, purple on purple represents the tower. And for those of you who are familiar with the tower is all about complete and utter and rapid deconstruction of whatever was and reconstruction into something new. Now, whether that something new is a pile of rubble at the bottom of the tower or not is totally moot. There is a destructive power here. And that destructive power, surprisingly enough, comes from the red and cyan mixing. When we have red and blues, the reds and blues mixed together, we always end up with purple. So this struggle that you have here to find your own identity creates a crash that will eventually create for you something new, something totally different. So what is that likely to be? Well, when we have cyan and purple together, we end up with a very highly skilled psychic person. Cyan as a form of blue and purple with that little tiny bit of red still in it creates a color that in the psychic realm is called indigo. And that indigo is all about being able to be inside your head, to be able to connect through your third eye with whatever spirit is throwing at you. In the real world, we have black and purple together. Those are the sage colors. This is the knowledge of everything, and this is the healing spirit that goes with it. Whatever you are creating yourself into here is a very powerful type of person that comes out of it with enormous psychic skills and links. Let's then have a look at the colours that are missing. We have black, we have white, we have red, we have yellow. There's no green or brown, or blue or brown, I'm looking one ahead, or orange, or grey, although it is inherent here. But you do have purple, there's no pink, but you do have cyan. So these 5 colours are the ones that represent the skills that you will be carrying with you throughout the month of July. These 6 colours are the skills that you're currently not using for whatever reason, whether it be you don't want to or you can't, but they represent the skills that could possibly alter the outcome or make the journey different and perhaps less difficult. What are they? Well, we have green, which is opportunity for re-evaluation of whatever it is that is valuable to you. Blue is the ability to create order and organization out of chaos. Brown has to do with the practical skills and the ability to set reasonable and acquirable goals. Orange is about the ability to withstand and overcome crises. Grey is overcoming the uncertainty and confusion by finding alternative points of view. And pink is about love and acceptance of whatever it is that is sent to you, whether that be assistance from others or whether it be you needing to assist others. So the idea, of course, as usual, is to choose from among those 6 colours the one that is most appealing and the one that is least appealing, and incorporate those into your life in some way. Hopefully, by doing so, you will find that the journey through this particularly painful period in the middle of the month, when you are re-evaluating just who you are, and then this crash towards the end of the month, will be more a case of reconstruction to something that is close to being a healer than a destroyer. And hopefully that will lead you there in the most comfortable and rapid way possible. Let's have a look at what the Oracle card has to say about this. And what we have is happy. Embrace your loving connection and be happy. The underlying drive, or the driver of your underlying energy, to put it strictly correctly, is the drive for happiness. Embrace your loving connection and be happy. Find who you are and go for it. So, lots to think about this month, don't you agree? I hope that the colours that you choose will be of benefit to you, and hopefully the colours that have been chosen for you will help to clarify some of the experiences that you will be undergoing in the month of July. Until we meet for the next colour reading, may the colours that you choose guide you and help you along the way. Until next time, bye.